What's in the cards for you this week? Hello and welcome. Say hello as you hop on. I want to make sure that I am live in all of the places. Yay, looks like it is happening. I found a new little toggle to switch. So hopefully I'll go live automatically on the other platforms. But welcome. It's wonderful to have you. Happy full moon in Cancer. That happens today. So we're going to take a moment to talk about how you can tune into the full moon in Cancer energy, a ritual that you can do. It is a full moon, and full moons are about culmination. It's about celebration. It's taking a moment to recognize how far you've come, what you've achieved, and where you want to go next, preparing that space. So that might mean letting go, releasing. And that really comes with the waning moon that we have the rest of the week, that energy. But in the meantime, let's just tune into the overarching energy of this week. I'm going to invite you to bring your hand on your heart. Good morning, Eleanor. So great to have you. And Diane, I've missed you too, Eleanor. It's wonderful to have you live and wonderful to have you too, Diane. Okay, so with your hand, hi, Julie. Great to have you here too. Hand on the heart, just tuning in. What's most important that you need to know in this week ahead? Okay. Seven of Cups. Seven of Cups is when we can feel overwhelmed with choices. There's a lot of different options and it feels a bit confusing and foggy. You'll notice the fog and the haze between the cups, and he's trying to decide what's behind door number one or door number two. And the fog creates a little bit of illusion, a little bit of challenge in figuring out exactly what is behind the door. If you have been having trouble with clarity on where am I going, what am I doing, what's my next step, the best thing I can do for you is to invite you, take a moment to step back, to ground, and to go into a meditative space. And that could simply be just sitting for 2 minutes with your eyes closed, or staring at a flame, or going for a walk, even. And you just take a few deep breaths and you put it out there to God, universe. Okay, what next? Please inspire me. And then you pay attention to the little inklings, the little nudges and hints, the little sparks in your own heart that start to draw you out. Seven of Cups, when this shows up, sometimes I feel like this is all the world's, your oyster. There's so many options. You could go left, you could go right, you could go up, you could go down, and it's overwhelming. So he's looking outside of himself here. I'm going to invite you to step away from the noise and the chaos to find the clarity that you're looking for. Good morning, Chrissy. And one thing I want to mention too, because before I share with all of you, I take some time to go into a meditative space myself and to look at the week ahead, look at the astrological transits. What's the moon doing? The planets, how are they talking to each other? And how can I be of most service to you? Part of the goal of these lives is to come together as community, to share experiences, to let you know that you're not alone on your journey. And I love to give you the sacred practices and techniques along with the tips of what's happening with the weather. So that's kind of what makes this different, is that it's not just a forecast, like here's what to expect, but I want to give you the tools that empower you, the practices, the sacred rituals that empower you to harness that energy, to work with it, to co-create with the divine. So when we think about manifesting or stepping into the life of your dreams, it's a team effort. It's not just you alone trying to make it happen all on your own willpower and strength and discipline. And it's not you just waiting for something magical to fall out of the sky, a miracle that just happens, but it's a blending of the two. And it's also realizing that we have community to lean on. Good morning, Shannon. So great to have you here, and so great that you caught us live. Oh, lots of fun. So one thing I do want to say is that as I was meditating and tuning in for this week, a card that came up was a Six of Swords. And the Six of Swords, when I was certifying in tarot reading, I learned a different meaning than what Chris Ann. I was drawn for some reason to look at her explanation of this card. And she explains it a little bit differently. And I thought it was quite beautiful. But Chris Ann, who created this deck, the Light Seers deck that I love to use, describes this as, are you ready to accept help? Are you willing, if you felt lost, if you felt confused, if you feel like your whole world is falling apart and there's nothing left except for the clothes on your back, and where will you go and what will you do? There is help. And those signs, those opportunities are showing up, but it can be challenging to see them if we are stuck in the pain of what has happened. And in this card, the traditional meaning of it that I learned back in the day is, you are moving from troubled times, troubled waters to calmer seas ahead. Things are going to get easier and better. The swords that are traditionally in the boat with the woman represent our thoughts. And so the meaning of this card traditionally is where you go, there you are. So you might be moving to calmer seas. Well, you will be. You are moving to calmer seas, not troubled waters anymore. But are you bringing the same thoughts with you, the same mindset, the same attitude? Yogis call it bhava. If you are, then what happens is not much changes. You keep seeing the same things. You keep dating the same people, having the same bosses, ending up in the same toxic friendships. But it's saying, listen, in order to really accept the help and to be able to move on, make sure that the memories, the experience, the thoughts from the past don't keep you trapped in the old cycles. And the way Chrisanne describes this is she said, for the lost souls who are looking for those calmer seas, when you walk to the river's edge and you see the sign, all who are lost or all who wander, come here. And there's this beautiful suitcase with all of the clothes just in your size right there. And you can choose whether or not to accept that gift. And if you do, that's a wonderful thing. These are like gifts of grace where we can't earn or deserve these gifts, but they come from God universe. And yet at the same time, you have free will. So it is up to you to accept and receive the gift. And we can choose not to. So with the Six of Swords, yes, things are getting better. Things are going to be okay. Things are going to get better. There is help. Are you willing to see the help, receive the help? And as you move forward, let go of the old stories and thoughts that might keep you trapped in the pain. So there is time for healing. So it was really exciting that card came up. And I want to share with you a beautiful prayer that I learned just recently. And I'll give the backstory of it a little, just to really take a moment to let all of our friends know, and all those who are out in LA, all those who have been affected by the fire, that we are thinking of them and that we are holding a space for them of healing, of love. And I'm going to share these words with you because sometimes words elude us. And there are wonderful wordsmiths out there who seem to capture the essence of what's in our heart, but we can't always articulate. And that's why I love going to our teachers, to our guides, to those helpers out there who can help us translate what it is that maybe we can't always put into language. So for this, I want to share with you a beautiful poem, a beautiful prayer, really, guided visualization that I learned from Adam Gainsbourg, an astrologer, who passed it on from his teacher. And I'm going to just pull it up right now. And his teacher, Lama Pema Khandro Rinpoche. And this is what she had to say. And this goes out, and I just invite all of you to take a moment to come into your heart space so that you know that there are actions you can take right now, right here, to bring healing, to bring love, to offer help on an energetic level, on a prayer level, and maybe you'll be inspired on some way on a physical level as to how you can be of help to all of those who are affected by the fires out in LA. And I'm thinking of it. I have friends out there. I have teachers. I have loved ones who are being touched by this directly. So I'm thinking of all of them and all of those that I don't know personally as well, and all those in our community. So the prayer goes like this. Our hearts and minds go out to all those affected by the wildfires in the Los Angeles area, including our beloved friends, firefighters, and all the wildlife that have been harmed. Bearing witness to suffering with our hearts open, is why we practice and how we serve all beings. We breathe it in instead of running away. And we meet it with compassion as we visualize and pray the fires ceasing. We visualize and feel the rescuing. We feel for the people and all creatures affected. We feel the healing happening now. With your next few breaths, generate a feeling of this happening in your own environment, in your own inner reality here. So it's not just you simply visualizing it. It is you generating a feeling of a reality of it already happening. Your awareness is in the center of the chest. The breath steady. And that light from within radiates out through your whole being, allowing you to be an inspiration and a beacon of hope. And in these last few breaths, fill up your entire body with a feeling of compassion or love or kindness or healing. And see the entire scene, that whole area of Mother Earth, all the people, the helpers, the animals, the trees, the insects, all beings surrounded and infused with the protection and healing and light that ultimately comes from love. Take a few more breaths. And with the gaze towards the floor, slowly, slowly come back to this moment and breathe. There's great strength and energetic, I hesitate to use the word power, but that's kind of where I'm going, that comes from coming together as a group. You know, the old beautiful knowing that where two or more are gathered, spirit is truly present. Great spirit. And when we come together and when we send out a prayer of love like that all beings feel the love, to know that they're not alone on their journey, that someone is thinking of them, it can make quite a difference. Thoughts, prayers, they do find their target, so to speak. And it's amazing the different studies that have been done, some in Berkeley, where you have different people in rooms across the campus, and they'll be sending thoughts and prayers, or they'll be sending positive, uplifting visions. And the person across campus in another room who's hooked up to electrodes, you can see measurable marked differences in their physiology. Just think of it when someone pops into your head, and next thing you know, the phone rings, or you get a text or an email. Or maybe let's say you call someone and they say, oh my gosh, I was just thinking of you. It's powerful. And I really truly feel that sometimes we don't realize how powerful our thoughts are. So as we go back to the Six of Swords, which popped up for the week during my meditation, I'm going to invite you to realize that help is available, that you are being brought towards those calmer waters ahead. It is important for you to be open to receive the help, to see that it's there, and to know that it is a time of healing. And there are many, many who are affected by all sorts of loss and all sorts of hurts and pain. And That's the beauty of having community and of coming together and realizing that you don't have to go it alone and you never were meant to. So I'm very happy that all of you are here this morning, that we can come together and play like this and go deeper into the energy of the week. So thank you. Thank you for being here, and thank you for being a part of this community and for bringing your compassion, your empathy, your love, and supporting one another. It truly makes a difference, and I'm grateful for you. And if we haven't met yet, by the way, my name's Irina Miller. I'm a spiritual life guide, what I call an energy alchemist and an astrologer. I have been studying sacred practices across the board, from yoga to energy healing to astrology to tarot to crystal healing, sound, all of it, right? If it has to deal with the spiritual and connecting to God, I'm there. And I love to learn, absorb, and study, certify all of these things so I can curate and create specific energy practices for you. And that's really what about this time is about. So let's dive into that. And Hannah, hello, namaste. And you said, imagine I'm in such emotional waters. You completely forgot that today is a full moon. It explains everything. Happy to be here. I'm so glad you're here, Hannah. Yes. So let's just briefly, for a moment, a great segue to talk about that full moon in Cancer today. Cancer is emotional. It is a zodiac sign associated with the element of water, which means or symbolizes emotion and intuition. If you are feeling extra emotional today, then congratulations, you are a moon sensitive, meaning you're more sensitive to the phases and zodiac sign that the moon is in than others. Not everyone is. But speaking as a moon in Cancer, that's where my moon is. This can be intense. It's overwhelming. And sometimes we can sink into the swamp of sadness. We can get caught with the blues or feel like we're sinking into a depression. Sometimes we can spiral round or up and down on a roller coaster. And by knowing that it's a full moon in Cancer, we might be more susceptible to that, is very powerful and impactful, because it enables you to say, oh, wait a second, it's not just me. Something's going on in the heavens above. And if the astrology, if the stars and planets and heavens are stirring things up, it's for a reason. It's so that you can make a powerful shift and be able to up-level your game, your experience, to get a little bit closer to that life you were born to live. So today, another aspect of this full moon in Cancer is that the moon is conjunct Mars. It's very, very close. And then later on in the week, it is Wednesday, Mars is going to oppose the sun. So what does this all mean? It means that Mars plays a little bit of a factor this week. And Mars is a planet that represents energy, drive, ambition, ego, power. It is go energy, the Mars. And when you combine Mars with the moon, like we have today, it's a little bit of a spread, but it's close enough that I really feel that it's going to flavor things. You might feel a little bit more irritable. You might feel impulsive. You might find that people are getting agitated more easily around you. Knowing that, you can say, okay, it is more important than ever today that I take a moment to ground, that I give people space. We're all feeling a little bit short-tempered or short-fused. Irritation might be on the rise. We might feel irritable. I'm going to advise you, don't do anything impulsive. Give yourself a moment to think on it, sleep on it, pray on it, feel on it before you make your decision. Because Mars energy wants to just do it. It's like act now, think later. But that's not going to be necessarily the best course of action today. Take a moment to say, wait a second, I got to feel into it, because it's full moon and full moon in Cancer. So with that being said, we'll get to that with the Wednesday energy, but just for the sake of today, with the full moon, I'm going to invite you to just give yourself that time and space so that you can release any extra feelings of impulsivity and agitation. Good morning, Cindy. Glad you could be here. And Diane, you said you woke up close to years, but flip the script. You did the root flush feel good and claiming your space. You felt energized and danced it out. Wonderful, Diane. And thank you. You reminded me what I wanted to say, because I got a little distracted there. Today with the full moon, one of the most important things, because it is with Mars, is that you give your emotions a channel. Aries energy that rules Mars, it is important that the feelings aren't repressed. If they are repressed, they'll blow up at some point. And the cool thing about Aries Mars energy is it blows up fast, quick, it burns bright, and then it's done. But it's still, still a blow up. My puppy's coming in and out. And as you go into this space, what ends up happening, make sure it's not distracting me, is that the emotions are going to distract you. So right now, let's go ahead and we'll all take a moment to ground. And that's my dad, everyone. I was going to say, you should wave. He's going. He's borrowing my car today. Thank you. See, distractions, they happen. Life happens. But we'll take a moment to ground. So imagine your energy, your awareness back in the center of your chest. You're going to take a deep breath and you're going to just send a beautiful green cord down from the tailbone all the way through pelvic floor, down between the legs, down through 6 layers of earth, topsoil, subsoil, a layer of granite, a layer of fire, of crystals, magma, to the very core and heartbeat of Mother Earth. Breathe. When you are grounded in this way, what ends up happening is that rather than the feelings kind of charging you or zapping you, electrocuting you essentially, you're grounded. They move around you. And even if they kind of whack you, they go right through into the earth where they'll be recycled into something of great beauty so that you don't have to worry about going around feeling fried or lost the rest of the day. If you were feeling big emotions, channel them just like Diane did. She danced it out, put on your music, dance. Sometimes with Aries influence, or I'm saying Aries because Aries rules Mars. With that Mars influence, you've got to be physical. So you might find you need the walk today. You need to run. You need to dance. You need to kickbox. You need to get them up and out. But don't keep them stuffed down. So for a full moon ritual today, one of the things that you could do is you could decide, I'm going to go for a walk, and that's going to help me with receiving guidance and my next best steps. So like the 7 of Cups card that came up in the very beginning, maybe you decide, okay, before I begin my walk, I'm going to take a moment, I'll ground, root, flush anything out of my space that isn't serving my highest, and fill up with a beautiful golden light. And then you ask, and I'm saying that really quickly, if you don't have access to that guided meditation, I'm going to just pop it up right now. I have it where it's just a 2-minute audio. I'll pop it up on the screen, irenamiller.co/getcalm. And that's guiding you through the whole root, flush, fill practice. But you do that. And then before your movement, walk, run, dancing, you say a little prayer. You say, okay, God, universe, what's my next best step? Help. You could just say help. That might be it, right? This week, we're meant to ask for help. We're meant to be open to receiving help and guidance. Remember, though, you have to ask and you have to be willing to receive. That's where the free will comes in. And then once you say that, leave your worries behind. Maybe you even place a little stone or a leaf there to symbolize, these are all my worries. These are the thoughts that go round and round and round. I'm leaving them here. I'm going for my walk. I'm dancing it out. I'm going for my run. And then as you're going, know that you don't have to think about it because the rock is holding the thoughts for you because it's already been answered, those prayers you sent up to God. And just notice what inspiration comes. Maybe nothing will come. Maybe it'll be a feeling like popcorn, like, oh, I have a craving for popcorn. And that's the weirdest thing, but you're like, I have no popcorn. I've got to go to the store. And you run into an old pal who has an opportunity for you. It's the strangest and wildest thing. Think of it like a treasure hunt. It's an adventure. You know, it's a little bit of like a puzzle to solve. And what you're doing by coming to the weekly show like this, the Energy Weather Report, and my Mastering Intuition students or in my larger program or Moon Club members, what you're doing every time you show up in these places is you're refining your intuitive language. You're finding the way to articulate these things that are so hard to put words to, these feelings, these energetic experiences. And good morning, Amy. Glad you made it. You're welcome, Hannah. And Diane, yeah, you feel the tears. I know. It's really interesting how the emotions bubble up, and they bubble up in different ways for us. Most important thing to do today is channel it. When you come back from that movement, take a moment, to just offer a prayer of gratitude and thanks for answered prayers, whether you feel like they were answered or not. I assure you 100%, I feel this in my bones. And I'm not placing certainty in your space. I want to be very mindful of that. This kind of goes back to, I have always believed that our prayers are heard and answered 100%. Now, do we get instantaneous responses? Maybe not. Maybe it's a day, maybe it's a month, maybe it's a year, maybe it's a couple years, but they are answered. And having patience, staying anchored in hope because we have faith will ensure that we do come across those answered prayers at some point. And there's kind of a long story behind that, why I say this with such certitude and great feeling. It's a story for another time. We'll get into that later. But in the meantime, full moon in Cancer today, I really invite you to weave in a practice like that. My Moon Club members will be meeting later today, 1:30 p.m. Eastern. I think that's what it is. I'll send out a reminder email, going off memory. But it's one of the full moon rituals that you can do. And I'm going to add that movement in just because Mars is such a big factor. Anything with water is great too, because it's Cancer energy, which is associated with the water. Okay. And we've got other things to talk about. Oh my gosh, everything's popping out. In the meantime, I'm going to pull a card for this full moon. What's most important that you need to know about this full moon in Cancer? Okay. Highly, highly intuitive psychic time. High Priestess pops up. I'm going to just get this off the screen if I can. Let's see. Hide. There we go. High Priestess energy. Take time to step away from the noise and the chaos. Step away from all the options. That 7 of Cups that came up earlier, it's like there's too many options. I can't decide which one. Unplug from the noise. There's a practice in yoga called pratyahara, which is a withdrawal of the senses. It's one of the 8 limbs of yoga that's saying, sometimes we have to unplug. We have to stop all of the distractions and the squirrel experiences where things are pulling us away from hearing the guidance within our own heart. And I truly believe that what we're picking up on in our heart is a direct line to God universe. So this energy, the High Priestess, she's going within. She stands at the gateway between consciousness and subconscious. She knows the answer, and she's not going to tell you because she realizes that sometimes when we're just given the answer, they're not as meaningful. It doesn't mean much to us. We take it for granted. Like if you ever asked for advice or some wise sage or like a mom or dad, like you shouldn't do that. It's like, I know what I'm going to do it. It'll be fine. And then you do it and you're like, darn it. Sometimes we have to live it and experience it. So the High Priestess knows that it will mean more if we come to the answer on our own journey and pathway. So she is encouraging you, go within. You have the answer within you. So that 7 of Cups, confusion, illusion, don't let that throw you. With this full moon, go within. And with that being said, I'm going to take just kind of like a little sidebar and talk about another major event that happened over the weekend from the astrological viewpoint. And Hannah, you said that's what you feel today. Yeah, I know. There's a lot of illusion and fogginess, and sometimes it can even go into deception because there's a lot of Neptunian influence. Venus is in Pisces, which is ruled by Neptune. And the big thing that happened this weekend was that the nodes shifted zodiac signs. And the node shifted into North Node went into Pisces. I'll describe what the nodes are here in a moment. And South Node went into Virgo. The nodes are kind of imaginary points in the sky where the moon is involved. We'll just kind of leave it at that without getting into too much Astro Geek speak. And North Node represents what our spirit is working towards mastering. It's like our soul is working towards this goal. So in your natal birth chart, everyone has a North Node and a South Node. And the North Node is that, like when people are like, well, what's my purpose? Why am I here? What should I be doing? What do I need to be working towards? So as my teacher says, you don't flunk your chart, your natal chart, what your soul had intended in this lifetime. It's good to know, where's my north node? What am I meant to be doing? Because sometimes we just feel a little bit off because we're not working towards that goal. The south node represents a level of mastery or what we bring into this world. Sometimes people see it as karmic. I like to really connect with it on a level of, this is what you're naturally gifted with. This is what you know well. These are the tools you're bringing into this lifetime. It's more comfortable to go back into the south node and do that work. But we're meant to work on our north node. So what does this mean? When the nodes shift on a collective level, because that's what's happened right now, all of us as a collective, as a global community now have shifted out of the Aries Libra axis, where we were just a moment ago, into Pisces and Virgo. So we're moving from the I versus we of Aries and Libra. Aries teaches us to really recognize ourselves as individuals, speak up for what I want as an individual. And Libra is like, well, we want to take the collective in. What do you want to do? How can we make this pleasant and harmonious for all? We're looking for that balance there. Now we're in Pisces and Virgo. So as a collective, there was a shift on Saturday night and we moved into Piscean energy. That's where we're headed towards, but it's ruled by Neptune. So that's 7 of Cups, kind of that fogginess, that overwhelm. There can be that little influence from the North Node shifting. Now, the North Node hasn't been in Pisces for 18 years, and it's going to stay there for 18 months because what happens is it goes through the whole zodiac wheel. So we were in Aries, and then it was Pisces, and then it's going to go back into Aquarius and so on and so forth. And the nodes move backwards around the zodiac circle. And if this is too much Astro Geek speak, just in one ear, out another, let's stick what wants to, and the rest can go by. But what this means for you with that North Node in Pisces is that there's much more focus on spirit and connecting to spirit. There's a call to develop your spiritual practice. There's a call to develop your intuitive gifts. And with the South Node in Virgo, that represents the habits, the rituals, the everyday routines, your health, your physical body. So there is a level of mastery that you can start to draw from in the routines and the rituals that you have been building. And you can continue to come to spaces like this or my Mastering Intuition program or Moon Club, where we go deeper into those sacred practices and rituals to help you as you are opening up to spirit, your connection to spirit, your spiritual practice. So that Neptune influence is coming in, and it is more important than ever to be grounded in 2025 because there is a spiritual awakening. Oh, hello there. The puppies are wild today. There is a spiritual awakening happening at the next level. And we want to make sure we're grounded because one of the things that I learned early on in my spiritual journey is that it's very easy to open up to love and compassion and to that utopian, blissful feeling of getting a high of connecting to spirit. It feels so good. But if we're not grounded, we're not discerning. And if we're not discerning, then we can easily be led astray and manipulated or tricked by people who don't have our highest and best in mind. And it is important to be able, as we're opening to these spiritual gifts, to be able to practice that level of discernment. So the root, flush, fill, ground, however you can, so many different ways. Stand outside barefoot, place a hand on a tree, hug a tree, lay on the earth, lay on a grounding mat, take a piece of like little chunk of salt on like kosher salt on your tongue, take a salt bath with Epsom salts, eat something that's red. Red activates our root chakra. Many different ways to ground. Do what's grounding for you. Okay. So with that being said, Heather, you said your kitties are chasing each other too. This full moon is getting everybody a little bit crazy. And Diane, you said it was 27 when you woke up this morning. You usually sit on the porch and watch the sun come up. And you've seen tree and aura spirits twice in the 4 months that you've been doing this. Yes. Oh my gosh, all sorts of chills. That's the other thing that's really shifting. For those of you who are ready to develop your intuitive gifts, this year is a fantastic opportunity to do that because the universe is making it so much easier to open up your clairs, like your clairvoyance, your clear seeing, your clairaudience, your clear hearing, your claircognizance, your clear knowing, clairsentience, clear feeling, clairsalience, the smelling, clairgustance, the tasting, all of the clairs. There's so many. But pay attention to these things. I love to teach people how to see the auras by working with the trees first. So beautiful, Diane, right on track. Okay, so let's talk about the overarching energy of this week. The moon kicks off full moon, which we spoke about, and then it's a waning moon. And waning moons are really about, okay, it's time to let go. So they're great opportunities when you want to clean out a closet, when you want to, start a new health regime, and other things are supporting health regimes this week too, to a certain degree. The biggest thing that I'm going to invite you to do, because here's the thing about the Pisces energy, North Node moving into Pisces, is we can get distracted easily and we fantasize and we daydream. And sometimes we can move into escapism if the feelings are too big. We'll watch a show instead of paying attention to the feelings, or we'll eat chocolate. That's me. If we're like, oh, the feelings are too big, I'm going to encourage you, come up with strategies. I call this like creating your little medicine bag. So, okay, if I'm feeling low, if I'm feeling irritated, if I'm feeling less than, if I'm feeling too ramped up, these are the things that I can do. Because when we're in the moment, it's hard, right? We're going to go on impulse and reaction more than a response, a well thought through plan. Come up with a plan and strategy, definitely for dealing with emotions this week, as well as using this week to plan out your 2025. And I've got something really exciting that I'll be sharing about that. If you're not on my email list yet, definitely you want to be on my email list. The irinamiller.co/getcom will get you on my email list. But I'm going to be sharing more ways that you can use sacred geometry and meditation practices to harness this year's energy to really create strategy that is so much fun. But by the end of the year, you'll look back at what you've done and say, oh, how did that happen? Like, wow, that worked. It's a lot of fun. I share this with my clients and my students, and it's been a joy over the years to see how it has made a positive impact and transformation on their lives. So I'm excited to share all of that with you too. So waning, let go, but come up with a plan. Don't just be like, that's it, I'm done with this, I'm going to throw it away. Plan. Okay. All right. So that being said, let's look at the days of the week. So we already spoke about Monday, and Monday with the full moon and how to make the most of that energy. And we got the High Priestess card. So we're going to just jump right into Tuesday's energy, where the moon moves into Leo. So what do you need to know about Tuesday's energy? What's most important that you need to know? Queen of Wands. So fire energy. And I love it because Leo is the fire card. Leo represents our ego as well. Leo is connected to the energy of the sun. It's your identity. It's who you are. And ego isn't a bad thing in the sense of it's what makes you an individual. It's what makes you you. And I truly believe that we came down from the heavens above to experience that unique individuality. And yet at the same time, it's important for us to remember that we are connected to a global community, that we are not alone in our actions, but our actions have a ripple effect and they affect the world around us. So the Queen of Wands is saying you have a lot of energy, but be mindful of how you use your energy. Because if you go too much into the just do it energy, I'm excited, I'm going to make this happen. She's very creative. She is a just do it card, but she can also lead herself to burnout. So how are you recharging your batteries? How are you feeding your spirit? Where might you be just doing it and going so fast? It's like some people use that phrase, how does it go? It's something like, do it now and ask for forgiveness later, where they're like, just do it. But I'm going to invite you before you take action, because the moon is in Leo. Give yourself a moment to tune into the inspiration around you, to feed your spirit so that you build up your faith, whatever your faith is in. Take a moment to really anchor into that connection to something that is bigger and greater than you, the limitless love, that unconditional presence of peace. Tune into that and let that inspire your actions rather than just moving into a state of, I'm going to just do it and ask for forgiveness later. Because those are the moments where you're going to look back and you're going to, your stomach will feel a little queasy. So Tuesday, recharge your spirits, give yourself a chance to feed your faith, is how I'm going to say that. And that could be lighting a candle. That could be listening to some great music. It could be going to a service of sorts, doing a meditative practice. It could be just, I look around because I have, I've got little sacred altars and spaces all over my office here, but I have a lot of my angelic connections over here and my prayer cards from funerals and little murtis, we call them in the yoga tradition, of like St. Joseph and the Blessed Mother and St. Jude and a little Buddha. And but these are anchors for me. These are things I can look at every day that just reconnect me and remind me I'm not alone on my journey, and to feel that connection to the love. The power isn't in the tool. The tools could disappear and I could still feel a connection to the beautiful Blessed Mother. Okay. So Wednesday moon still in Leo. I'm going to just ask what's most important that you need to know about Wednesday. 9 of Pentacles. So this is a moment of reassessment. The 9 of Pentacles, it's saying enjoy the fruits of your labor. And you're taking a moment to really, she's got her pentacles here, which represent the physical items in her life, but it can also even be time or energy. It's resources. And the wise owl is there, just like Athena has. So there's something that comes here that is a reminder of strategy. When we have strategies, when we have a plan, we are much happier with our goals and outcomes. When we're just trying to wing it, when we're just trying to feel into it or follow the next intuitive hit, we may not always end up where we had hoped. Coming up with a plan, managing your resources, giving yourself a moment to listen for that wise guidance that can come from Pallas Athena, the goddess of wisdom. You're going to find that you are much happier with your outcome as you look back in the moment. So Wednesday could be a great day for doing the strategy work. And again, I'll share that information on how to use sacred geometry and all those goodies as one of the tools to tap into coming up with a strategy. So we'll leave it at that. Okay, Thursday moon moves into Virgo. Oh, love it. What's most important that you need to know? Who's popping out here? It's almost like 2 cards are popping out. Okay, so 9 of Swords. So the 9 of Swords is where we worry. We're anxious and we worry. We're waking up at 3 in the morning, and at 3 in the morning, everything looks bleak and everything is a little scary in the shadows. But as soon as the morning light comes, what might have looked like a scary crow or raven that was chirping, and all those thoughts that kept going through becomes inspiration, becomes the dove. It becomes a peaceful opportunity. And the second card that popped up, the 2 of Pentacles. And I love this because here's the thing. Let's even just back up to the Virgo moon. Virgo moon is about being analytical. It's about coming up with a plan and a strategy. They're definitely not winging it. It's a very grounded, practical energy. It's in the same camp as the Capricorns because they're both earth signs. So 2 of Pentacles is a great representation for the Virgo moon. It's saying, listen, a lot of times we do get scared and worried because we don't have a plan. We're like, I hope it works out. I don't know. Maybe it'll work out. Please, praying for a miracle. Believe me, I'm always praying for miracles. And they come, always open to them. But there'd be a lot less worrying if we knew what we were dealing with. Like if we looked at our numbers, whether it's weight numbers or budget numbers or learning numbers, like, we're looking for a degree or, this is the other thing too, like in the online space as a digital entrepreneur, in the early days, people would be so sad. They'd be like, oh my gosh, I only sold X amount of programs or products or services. And somebody would say, well, what's the percentage, like out of how many you offered or how many people saw this offer or how many people opened? What was the percentage that actually purchased? And they might be like, oh, it was only 1 or 2%. Oh, it's terrible. And they say, that's amazing. That's the average conversion rate. But to somebody who's brand new to the field, or they're like, oh, only 30% of my email list opened. I was like, oh my God, that's fantastic. Like if you get 20%, be happy. But in the early days, if we don't know the numbers, if we don't know the budget, if we don't know the plan, the strategy, we could be up worrying in the middle of the night for no reason. So take a moment, and the Virgo energy will help you. It helps you organize things, get things done. So Thursday's a great day for like dealing with the eat the frog type of work. I really don't like that statement. I'm more of a spoonful of sugar kind of gal. So take that spoonful of sugar and then eat your froggy. And eat the frog is a term that came up with like do the hard thing first. I feel like if we can get the momentum going and just take action, then we can build into the harder thing. Like we don't want to put it off forever, but at least just get the ball rolling. And that might be doing the easy, quick win first. But Thursday, really, you're going to start to implement the strategy. Like it's all dreamy and kind of fun and playful on Wednesday, thinking about that big picture. And then Thursday, it's like, okay, you want to go on this trip or you want to get this job. What do you actually have to do? Or you want to reach this fitness goal. What do you have to do in order to reach that goal? And you come up with the plan on Thursday. Ooh, that's exciting. Oh, I'm looking forward to this week. I never know what's going to come through. Friday moon still in Virgo. What's most important that you need to know? All right, 10 of Cups. So enjoy yourself with friends and family, a fullness of love. So Friday with that moon in Virgo is ruled by Mercury, and Mercury's been a little wild lately. Mercury has just moved into Capricorn, so he's being very stern in the sense, and Mercury is more of an androgynous energy. They're being very stern, and the thoughts are coming through. You might even feel like, oh, you should be doing this, and why aren't you doing that? Kind of like the parent talking to you. But 10 of Cups, take a moment to enjoy just the fullness of being loved and loving someone else. And if that mind keeps going and racing with the moon in Virgo, I'm going to encourage you, give your mind a task to do. So maybe you play a game of cards with a loved one, bring a little bit of strategy into it. Maybe you play like backgammon or chess or, but engage with your loved one. And if the mind is just, being like the barking dog, getting you into the bad neighborhood, engage with your loved ones in a playful manner that lets the mind focus on something and relax it. And Heather, you said Thursday is FAFSA day. Oh, goodness. Oh, FAFSA for like the colleges. Yeah. So ground. Yeah. So this will be good. This is an interesting week. The more and more that I look at it when it comes to, all right, we're going to have to move this around and this around and this around in order to achieve our goals. So give yourself that time. Okay. As we go in Saturday, moon starts off in Virgo, and late in the evening, it'll move to Libra. And let me just see that time because I wanted to share it with you. It's 10:33 Eastern. So for our West Coast friends, 7:30 p.m. You might feel it more than the rest of us. But for the most part, energy of the day is Virgo. So Saturday, what's most important that you need to know? 9 of Wands. You got this. Even though things might seem daunting and might seem overwhelming, when we're at the beginning of the week, that 6 of Swords energy, like I've got nothing left, everything is gone, I only have the clothes on my back. I'm open to receiving help, but like, how do I move? Like, I'm just tired. She's saying, you got it. You're so close. Keep going. Don't give up. Keep going. If you have to let go of one of the projects, if you have to let go of one of your goals for now, put it down. If that's going to be what it takes to give you the energy you need to cross the finish line, don't feel like you've got to do it all right now. But deep down inside deep down inside, you've got what it takes to finish it. Okay. Knowing with this waning moon, you can definitely let go of something if it's too much. All right. So Sunday's energy. Moon in Libra, what's most important that you need to know? Knight of Pentacles. So what you're doing now is going to pay off dividends in the future. The strategy that you put into place, the being present, the activating with mindfulness, what you are doing is going to multiply. Knight of Pentacles, he's not in any rush, right? So we're not doing that Mars reactionary, explode, just do it. He's calculating. He's thinking of the future. He's laying the groundwork. He's like Johnny Appleseed. He's planting the trees today, knowing that he might not even benefit from them, but the generations that come will. He's barefoot. He's not, again, if we're walking outside barefoot, we can't run quite as easily. We have to be more mindful. What am I stepping on? He's not on his horse. He's not in a rush to get there. What you are doing now is not a quick win. You are playing for the long game. So knowing that too can also help us. What are we anchoring our faith in? Are we anchoring our faith in the quick win? Like, I'm going to reduce my calories to whatever, and I'll lose 100 pounds. All right, maybe we get a quick win, but is that going to help us in the long run? What's the long game? You're playing the long game here. Okay. HBD. Okay. Intentionally pacing yourselves. Exactly, Diane. Because just like the Queen of Swords Queen of Wands, Queen of Wands came up. That's where we might not be pacing ourselves, and we might be working too hard, too fast, too ambitious, and burn ourselves out. And Julie, say, yep, always say publishing is the long game. I get chills when you say that. Yes, chills. Beautiful. All right. So thank you all so much for being here. It's such a joy to spend this time with you. And I'm going to share, I want to always combine words, information about the Moon Club. If you're interested in joining the Moon Club, we celebrate new moon and full moon. We have rituals that we practice with that. We meet live anywhere from 1 to 3 times a month because we get into the rituals and practices. And we talk about how the moon affects us on a daily basis. And anyway, all of the information is there. I won't go on and on about it, but irenamiller.co/club. My Moon Club members, I will see you today in my Zoom room. Have an amazing day, everyone. And please know how loved you are and how many angels are watching over you. And they're just a thought away. All right. Much love. I'll catch you on the flip side. Bye, guys. You're welcome, Amy. Thanks for tuning in. Bye, Julie. You're welcome.